queer people should just be letting queer people into queer spaces. Like, we don't, like, you cannot ask somebody like for their papers. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Neurodivergent Creative Podcast. Today I have a guest, Bailey Merlin. Is that your real name?
It sure is.
That's crazy. That's a great name.
Thank you.
And we're going to be talking about bisexual erasure. So, Bailey, why don't you tell our friends why you are my guest of choice to talk about bisexual erasure?
Because it's my favorite topic. So, my name is Bailey Merlin. I am a professional bisexual, which means for some reason, every aspect of my life has something to do with bi plus identity. I'm both a researcher, an advocate, an organizer, the founder of the Bi Plus Book Gang, the co-host of the podcast Bisexual Killjoy, and also in the board of directors for the Bisexual Resource Center in Boston. So my whole life really revolves around bisexuality in one way or another.
I didn't know about the Boston one, so you're keeping it busy.
Yeah, always.
Love it. Okay. Well, thanks for being here. It's our jam to talk about bisexuality. And I actually met you because I joined the Bi Plus Book Gang many moons ago at this point. And I've been more of a lurker than a participator, but I have beautiful intentions of being more active in there as the burnout decreases. So yeah, I don't really have a plan for this conversation. I figure we'll just talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah, I have ADHD, so I just let the ideas, I just let them happen to us, and then we record it, and my content team turns it into magic.
Yeah, I also have one of those content people who turns all of my ramblings into magic.
So good.
We're very grateful for those people.
Yeah, like I listen to my podcast, and I'm like, I sound really competent. I know what I'm talking about. Because, you know, in the moment, I'm just like, yeah, and then I rambled into my microphone for 20 minutes, and who knows what's going to happen. But consistent bangers.
I mean, given that it's Pride, if we want to start there for bi erasure, because it's fiercest during Pride Month, is what I've been learning. I also loathe it. I loathe Pride Month because of the biphobia, the bi erasure, the dirty looks that I get in public, but more often or not hear from my friends that they get in public. I don't know if you experience the same thing. Maybe Pride is joyous for you.
I do tend to like Pride. I haven't ever gotten bi erased that I perceived in the moment. It might have happened, and then my autism was just like, didn't clock it, so it's not real. One year for Pride, I was dating a guy, and we got like matching shirts made that said bi vegan power couple. And it was in like rainbow text. Yeah, I used to just put my whole personality on my t-shirt. And so I was sort of like, hey, I know that I'm here with a dude, but I'm bisexual and so is he. And it's fine. We belong here. And I don't tend to get the feeling that like people want to dirty look me out of Pride. Mostly because I just show up and I'm covered in rainbows and I'm there to have a good time for me. And I don't really care what other people are doing. But yeah, let's talk about the fact that in Pride Month, the biphobia is at a peak.
Yeah, especially online is where I notice it more. As an organizer, I notice it more just on terms of you have a booth with lots of resources available to it, and you see folks who are not decked out in their bi, pan, omni, poly flags. They're like, oh, they're happily bouncing from booth to booth to booth. And then they see yours and they go, and they walk by it. I'm like, oh, not even for your friends, statistically likely that your friends are bisexual.
Goodness.
Yeah, that happened this weekend. But online, there's all of this, I'm putting discourse in very heavy, sarcastic quotes because it happens every year where we decide whether or not bisexuals exist or if lesbians who are lying about their lesbianness, they're not even queer at all. They're just straight, as though being bisexual doesn't exist. Maybe you have more of a pulse point on all of the online stuff that's happening right now around like pop stars who are not lesbians anymore.
Man, I've cultivated my algorithm pretty well, so I haven't seen a lot of the biphobia. Is there a lesbian who's no longer a lesbian?
Well, there's like a picture of Billie Eilish kissing a man, although I don't think Billie Eilish has ever said that they were any one thing or
No, Billie Eilish gives chaotic bisexual energy, first of all.
yeah, first of all, but they're like another lesbian has let us down, and then Jojo Siwa, who I think was in Dancing with the or not dance, Toddlers and TR, the one where little kids dance, Dance
Mm,
Moms.
Dance Moms, something like that. I
Yeah,
do remember hearing about JoJo Siwa,
yeah,
like coming out
that was
as
just.
lesbian.
Uh, well, Jojo Siwa said, I am making gay pop a thing." First of
Okay.
all, that's the red flag.
Yeah.
But then very publicly had a photo taken of them in bed with a assumed cisgender man, and everyone's losing their minds because she was just lying about being a lesbian and lying about being queer because, as you well know, being bisexual isn't an option apparently.
Huh. Okay. Why do we feel the need to like police people's sexuality? Like, first of all, if we're coming at sexuality with the assumption that it is fluid and sex and gender are also kind of fluid, like, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I'm definitely queer. I do use the bisexual label. I like the colors of that flag the best. I am perfectly happy being like, I'm bisexual. But a lot of the times I just say queer because I'm also non-binary. And so it's like, well, doesn't bisexual imply two genders? And then you say you're non-binary. So like, and then we get into like all of that crap. So
Yeah,
there's like so many different angles of erasure.
there are. I think the best definition of bisexuality is probably Robin Oakes's in terms of I'm attracted to genders like mine and not like mine
Mhm.
because not necessarily to the same degree or at the same time, but I have the potential to be attracted to. And a lot of folks just get hung up on the semantics of the word bi. And then, depending on the room you're in, you don't want to have to explain yourself. You don't want to have like, well, I'm non-binary, and I need you to understand that the semantics of this word and the history of this word don't necessarily translate to what you
Yeah.
think it is.
Yeah. And like, we can't be doing a lecture every single time. So it's just sort of like, I'm queer. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll carry around my little bi pride flag. You can ask me about it. But this need to like identify, like, queer people should just be letting queer people into queer spaces. Like, we don't, like, you cannot ask somebody like for their papers.
Yeah.
That's cop behavior. Don't be a
It
cop.
is cult behavior. No, it's exactly what it is. And from a researcher perspective, I think there are a couple of schools of thought on why does this happen? Why does bi erasure happen? And my thinking is that in communities that are already super marginalized, there's a lot of fear of resources being taken away. And if you don't look like me, talk like me, act like me in all these ways, then you are other. And if you are other, you are the enemy. And so bisexuals, by which I mean everyone under the bi plus umbrella, occupies the liminal space where we're not monosexual. We don't necessarily look, adhere, act like the way lesbians and gay men do. And that's scary. It's like, well, you are cavorting with the enemy. You can straight pass, which in itself is really damaging. I think that's why bi plus people suffer so much from mental health issues at a higher rate than monosexual counterparts, just because we don't feel like we can go out and reach for help, or we don't have a stable community that is accessible to us. But basically, it's a scarcity mindset that makes bi plus people the enemy, and therefore they're not allowed to be here to take up space. You're taking something from me. Whereas really, considering that we are the majority of the population, if you allowed bi plus people into the room, we could make more space. We
Yeah.
could take up more room. We could get more resources. And it's just a bummer that we don't think that way.
It is like, there's some quote that's like, I don't, like, if you have extra, use it to build a longer table, not a taller fence.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'm bastardizing it, and it's beautiful in its original form, but like, yeah, like, take care of your own people, but then also like building community and adding more allies into your community is great. And the idea that like I'm a queer enemy because I'm dating a man is crazy pants to me.
It
Like,
is.
dude, I'm so queer. Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, it baffles me. Like, why are we fighting? We could be working together because like fascism is coming for us all. How about
Yeah.
no infighting right now? Why?
Oof, no infighting. We also see this crop up a little bit more during Pride. It's the bi v pan debate, where
Mm.
it's like people going at each other's throats. Like, I really don't need that type of infighting. We're all under this umbrella term. I promise we can get everything we need if we just work together. I, an unfortunate reality of fascism and sort of like when we swing to the right is people get more insular and they are more fearful and they're like, I have to protect my own and my tribe. And it's like, whoa, we're neighbors though. We could have more. We could have that village that everyone says that they want, but don't actually do anything to strive for. Anyway, that's a hot take. That has nothing to do with
I love it though. Let's make a bisexual commune. We'll solve both problems.
Okay, but everyone talks about it, and I'm ready. I'm ready to
I'm
start.
ugh, I don't want to move again, but if I was able to move to the queer commune, I would move one more time, but I'm so tired of moving. And also, I'm in Ohio, and Ohio is not a good state for queers right now. It's not very safe here.
Yeah, that's what mutual aid should be about. Let's all just put in $100. And with that $100 of the, how many is it? It's like 13.7 million bisexuals in America, then we can buy land and we
Yes.
can build a property. Look, I'll project manage that. I don't want to. I don't want to have to project manage that, but I will if that means getting a little bit of land and a place where bi plus people can just be themselves.
Yeah.
So for you, what was the first time you realized that, oh, I'm bi and I'm being treated a little bit differently? Your experience with bi erasure.
I think it actually came up more in like the bi versus pan debate thing.
Mm.
So, I didn't realize I was bisexual until after college, despite the fact that I was a board member of our GSA in
I'm an
college.
ally.
Yeah, I was the best ally. I routinely said the phrase, "I'm the gayest straight person I know," and I look back and I'm like, "Oh my god, you're so dumb. You're a little dumb." But I don't know. I wasn't raised really seeing examples of queerness. And then when I was in college, my sister was in high school and was dating another girl. So like my mom was doing all this like it's a phase kind of stuff like with my sister at the time. So that was happening. And so like I was kind of being there for them and being like, it's not a phase, it's real, you're queer, because I'm the best ally. Didn't realize I was bisexual until after college. Having my first girlfriend was crazy. I was like, this is great. Like women are soft and good and like fantastic. And then, like some online discourse came up, like what's the difference between bi and pan? And it's like, well, pan is inclusive of trans people. And I'm like, ugh. I used to think that too because I fell for the anti-bi propaganda. But like because the discourse went that like, well, bisexual means it's a binary gender, there's just two genders, and so therefore you don't like people who are non-binary or trans. And I'm like, first of all, if I'm straight, I should still be attracted to a trans man, which
Yeah.
is really funny because in my bisexuality, like it's more toward men, and I fucking wish it wasn't because they're the worst. Like I wish I had better luck with women, but I have always like had a preference for men. So we could say like 80% straight, 20% gay for the purposes of this discourse. That's not how we measure this, everybody.
Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine like online. I met them in a bullet journaling group. And they came out as a trans man, and I had not been attracted to this person at all before their transition. And then like the more that they were on tea and like growing in like the little beard and like their voices dropping, I'm like, you're looking kind of cute over there. Like it was so funny. that as he started presenting as his true gender, I started being like, you're a very handsome gentleman right there. And it's just like, that's gay as fuck. And I'm non-binary, so if you think I'm pretty, you're gay. And that's
so there.
That's the whole rules. But yeah, I got off topic there. But like, I had a friend online who was like, well, I use pan because it's more respectful to my trans friends. And I'm like,
ooh, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know, well, just blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I'm bi and I don't hate trans people. So like, can we try this again, bud? And she's like, I'm just telling you what my trans friends have told me. Okay, well, they're being biphobic then. Like, if you say bisexuality is transphobic, you're being biphobic because it's not. And then we descend into nitpicking each other to death.
Exactly. I got actually, because we run an educational podcast, like Bisexual Killjoy gets pulled into a lot of things that I don't necessarily want to get pulled into. But once in a while, we'll get tagged in something like, hey, BKJ, what do you think about this? And I'm like, oh, God, the bi-pan debate. Because someone said this, like, to all of the non-binary and trans folks out there, do you think that pansexuals are better than bisexuals? I'm like, first of all, why are we using the word better? And then the discourse there, again, discourse, was very interesting because you had a lot of pan folks kind of talking about, like, I use this word because I want to be trans inclusive. And some of the trans folks are being like, well, I actually prefer bisexuals because it doesn't feel like it is, you're not like pandering to me. You're not trying to see how inclusive I am. And also, like, a trans man is a man.
Right.
And they're like, well, and I'm just sort of like watch this unfold. And I know everyone is allowed to have their label. You pick the label that makes you feel affirmed. And if you go into some room, you use the word queer, and you go into other rooms and you say bisexual or pansexual, that's great. But it's like the division in the community is unnecessary. Mm-hmm. We actually fracture the movement more when we sit and have these infighting moments, when instead it's like, okay, arm in arm, let's go, let's get all of our flags and just go do the work, because our community is so sick and we have such a lack of resources that I get really frustrated personally when we get tripped up on this, because they're just like bigger fish to fry, basically. Mm. And I'd like to go.
Yes. Yeah. You're like, fish. We could be fighting the fascists instead of the pansexuals. Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And like, at the end of the day, we're all queer, which means we are all going to be oppressed by the state. So like, can we not fight the state together? Like, come on, besties.
If you're arguing about whether or not bisexuals are trans inclusive, but are you like getting involved in bills that protect trans folks and ensure their healthcare access?
Right. If your trans advocacy ends at saying, well, I am pansexual, not bisexual, then like, I'm going to need you to do more, because that's not actually advocacy.
It's like, let's stop arguing about it. Let's do something. And again, sort of like my beef a little bit in bi plus or queer spaces in general is we do a lot of talking. Do a lot of talking and complaining about what we wish was better, when it's like, okay, well, we've talked enough. The fascist boot is coming for us, so maybe we could get together, do a food drive, make sure that people can get access to healthcare in other states if they need it. Like, how are you getting people out of the country? Like, what are you doing? I need you to contribute something instead of just like nitpicking it.
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask for?
It's, to some people, it is too much to ask for. I don't think it should be too much to ask for, personally.
Yeah. No, and I don't actually think it's too much to ask for. You should want to do the work.
I agree. Like, I am a person who, like, once I figured out that there was more to life than I understood, I was like, good, I want to learn as much as I can. And like, since college, I have been like trying to understand myself and other people better. And it has only driven me further left. And like, I don't understand how people are like, well, no, the more I learn about the world, the more I go, right. That's not right. That you're getting brainwashed if that's the pipeline here, because like,
what do you mean empathy made you mean? Like, what do you mean you learned that other people had feelings and you said, no, they don't.
Right. Like, it's it's so weird and dystopian.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad, Bailey. It makes me sad that, like, not only, like, queer people as a whole, the entire acronym, like, people don't understand us. They don't want to understand us. They think we're othered and weird, and they just believe lies about us. That's hard, right? You know, like, Pride Month means I'm doing queer content in my podcast, which means that, like, I'm getting more YouTube comments that are like Bible verses and telling me to repent. And, like, I got some on my last video about Magnus Hirschfeld and the Institute for Sexual Knowledge or Sexual Study, whatever. And I was like, we're 60 years behind on knowing stuff about queer people because the Nazis burned it all. And everybody's just like, repent. No,
this is what Jesus was want.
You're stuck. You're stuck in a weird puritanical Salem witch trial, Plymouth Rock issue.
Yeah.
Because queer people are here. We've been existing. Trans people have been existing forever. And it is like, it's only because of, like, white supremacist culture that we're being treated this way and we're oppressed. And then even within, then we get the infighting where it's like, well, bisexuals aren't real, or bisexuals can pass as straight. So they've got privilege. They've got straight passing privilege. And privilege doesn't make you a bad person. Like, the fact that I can go outside with my partner, and if somebody throws a brick at us, it's probably not going to be because we're queer. It'll be because we're interracial or something else. You know, like,
You said Ohio.
I did say Ohio, didn't I? There's a lot of Trump flags in my neighborhood as well. Walking the dog is an exercise in hypervigilance. Yeah, like, we can look like, quote, a straight couple, but we still look other. We still look alternative, right? He's got like 18-inch locks and I've got platinum hair and the side shave. People are going to look at me and be like, no, that one's weird. That one can go to the farm with RFK. And, like,
the farm.
Sorry.
Well, no, and it's like you're straight passing as long as you are behaving to the, like, what you're assigned. When you look alternative, you no longer pass and you are othered in another place. And I think that's something that gets in queer spaces when they tell bi plus people that you are straight passing. It's like, to who? Right. Straight passing to who? Me and my husband, nothing about this couple is straight. He looks the way he looks. I look the way I look. And people only recently stopped treating him poorly because they thought he was gay because we got married. And yeah, he's a very effeminate man. But when he got married, all of a sudden everyone was like, oh, the old ball and chain. I'm like, okay, well, that's patriarchy in another form. But at least you're not getting, slurred at anymore. That makes you feel better and safer, right? He's like, it does. And also they're helping me fix my car. So that's nice too. But at any rate, like, there's nothing about us that is straight passing. Mm-hmm. And then you go into a space with your partner who everyone assumes is straight just because they also assume he's a cisgender man. And they're like, well, this woman and her boyfriend don't belong here either. You're taking up too much space. And it's just like, so where am I supposed to sit?
Right.
Well, obviously, like, that's why the Bi Plus book gang got started, is because we wanted our own table. And it's like, well, we'll just do it ourselves, I suppose.
And how it has grown.
Yeah, it really has. We're like 170 of us now. And it could be much, much bigger than that if I wasn't, like, turning on and off the faucet just so we can kind of acclimate to the growth. But I think that just speaks to the need or the desire.
Yeah.
Of bi plus people have for community. Like, we want it so badly, and there's so few spaces that are just for us.
Right. And then, like, when you have the space that's just for the bi plus crowd, you're not going to get othered and ostracized and erased because, like, this is a group for us.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important. And I wish that we didn't need it. Like, I wish that all LGBT spaces were just open to all of us. But I don't know, sometimes lesbians need a group that's just for lesbians and gay men need a group that's just for gay men. So, like,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm here for us having what we need. I just wish that there was a little more solidarity between letters in our little acronym.
I think this is I see this microcosm most neatly displayed in queer youth organizations. So we love them. We love LGBTQ plus youth orgs, and we love what they do for the kids. I'd like to see some more like letter affinity groups, if you will, just because exploring your identity as a young person is so hard, especially if you don't have any role models. I didn't grow up in any I didn't know any out bisexuals when I was growing up. I'm sure plenty of people were.
Yeah.
But if imagine you were a young bisexual person and all of a sudden you had like a mentor, you had someone who you had coffee with and you could ask all these questions about and talk about, you know, I don't know, anime and books.
Yeah,
And
like a big brothers, big sisters, but for bis. Right.
yeah,
Like I need like my bisexual mentor.
exactly. I think that would help a lot. It's amazing how young people are when they start internalizing biphobia, being told that they're not allowed to take up space. You don't need these resources as much as other people do. And then they distance themselves more and more from the community. And in my research and the interviews that I do, I'd say like 60% of people will tell me that their identity doesn't matter. Like, oh, it's not a big deal. I'm like, ugh, but it is. It doesn't have to be all you are, but saying that it's not a big deal makes me really sad because it means you're like distancing yourself from a part of yourself, which is not good for your overall mental wellness.
Right. Because when you believe that, that's because people have told you that that doesn't matter so long that you've memorized the script for it. It doesn't matter. Yeah. This part of me doesn't matter. This part of me doesn't matter, because that's the thing that's going to get people to leave you alone. But yeah, it is like chipping away at your spirit every single time. It does matter.
What can we do?
Man,
what can we do?
Look up the youth organizations in my area and go be a big sib.
Good.
Because I have so much.
That's the advocacy you could do.
Yes.
So what can we all do as individuals, to push back against bi erasure, not just during Pride Month, but all the time?
What a great question. First of all, I love the work that we do in the Bi Plus Book Gang, where we are promoting like bisexual characters in books. Like representation matters so much.
It does.
And like in TV shows that have bisexual characters, actors who are bisexual, like I'm pretty sure Pedro Pascal has.
I'm waiting.
I'm
just waiting for the drop.
God, I love him so much.
I do too.
He's got bi energy. And I'm just waiting for him to be like, yes, I've sucked a dick. Who cares? Move on. There's more important things that matter. I don't know what he's going to say. You didn't hear it from me. I didn't make that up. Well, I made that up.
I'm spreading the rumor. We're spreading the rumor right now.
Oh, no. I don't want to be a rumor spreader. But like, we just need more people to be bisexual. And then for people to realize, oh, but you're the same as you've ever been. Like we're not possessed by Satan. We think boys and girls are pretty and everybody else, like, just, yes, please, pretty person. I like it. Just let me look at Megan Thee Stallion's music videos for a while. Like, leave me alone. My partner. Respectfully. My partner likes to play a game called What Makes Caitlyn Gay? And he puts on different music videos to see if I am attracted to the women. And I don't know why, but I love Megan Thee Stallion, but not Cardi B. Like, Cardi B doesn't do it for me. Like, visually, I don't want to take her to my bed. Megan Thee Stallion, I would love to take her to my bed. I don't think she would have the time of day for me. And I think that that's correct. Like, I'm not on her level. She's out of my league. But she's still, I don't know, she's still moving that ass really nice. So
I'll take it.
Gonna check it out. So what can we do, Bailey? What can we do to combat bi erasure? As I just started talking about Megan Thee Stallion.
Respectfully look at Megan Thee Stallion's ass.
Yes, step one.
Step one. Step two, I do think it is about visibility. And, we have seen bisexual characters more and more in storylines on TV and in movies and things like that over the last 10 years. But in your everyday life, I know this sounds scary, but just showing up to queer events and making your identity known. Like, oh, I'm bi. Oh, I'm bi and I belong here. Because you do. this community is for you. And we have just so historically been shut out that we have told ourselves that we don't belong, but you do. So this Pride and also throughout the rest of the year, just like try to go to one queer event and let it be weird, make a friend, and do it again and again and again. And eventually it won't be weird. And that'll just be your community, which you deserve the whole time.
Yeah, I love that. And that's like, it feels high stakes in the moment, but like it's really low stakes. Like if you go to one group event and everybody there's a dick, then like don't go back to that group. Pick a new group.
Yeah.
Eventually you're going to find some place that's not full of jerks. And hopefully that is soon. Like hopefully you don't have to go through 5 places where everybody's a weirdo about it, you know, and also join the Bi Plus Book Gang if the faucet is currently on.
It will be in July.
Okay, great.
It's alternating months.
I love that. That gives you a little break.
It does. I love meeting everybody and hearing about their work and telling them about the gang and just making that person-to-person connection so that I know everyone in the gang and care very deeply about their journey.
Yeah. It's a good group. So in July, we're going to be open to new members. We're also planning a conference.
We are. We have an anthology coming out September 2025. And then in September 2026, we'll be having our very first Bi Plus the Book Writers Conference. It'll be in September 2026. It'll be online this first go around to gauge interest. I'm hopeful that we will just have a deluge of interest to the point that
I'm optimistic.
And then the next time we'll find an in-person place to do whatever it is we're going to do. Very excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm looking very forward to it. Okay, so look at Megan Thee Stallion respectfully. Write queer rep into your books, bisexual rep especially. Shout it out when you see it in books and movies and TV, and go to events and be bisexual.
Yeah,
those are our 2 real pieces of advice. We can leave out the Megan Thee Stallion one.
That was real advice. What are you talking about? As soon as we get off this call,
3 good examples of things that you can do to combat bi erasure. And also, if you are not bisexual, but you would like to help bisexual people not feel so othered, make sure that bi people know that they are invited to your queer events. Because that's important.
It is.
Especially the autistic ones. We need to be invited like a vampire.
You be explicit.
Yes.
We like consent and we like to be explicitly invited to things.
Yes. It's very important. Okay. So where can we find you around the internet, Bailey?
You can find me at Bi Plus Book Gang, at Bisexual Killjoy, on Threads and Instagram, and on the general internet. And I am incredibly Googleable for some reason. So if you just Google Bailey Merlin, I'm the only one.
All right. One singular Bailey Merlin in the whole world. So Google. All right. Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about bi stuff. I'm excited for my month of queer wrath. It's kind of wrath month for me instead of Pride month. Last year it was all about like queer joy and how to show your values in your business when you're a queer entrepreneur. And this year I'm like, the Nazis are bad. You should shut up and be nicer to bi people. Like, no, I'm not. I can't be nice anymore. I'm gonna be a mean bisexual.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Okay.
You're like, the Nazis are coming. And shut up.
Shut up. Yeah. Invite everybody to the picnic. Don't leave bi people out.
Creative with Caitlin Fisher as your host and creative coach. They'll change your approach and tell you a joke to lighten your load and help you along or sing you a song. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do.